Hi everyone, my name is Miss Laura Smith. I teach chemistry and forensic science here at Our Lady of Lourdes, and this is the presentation for Introduction to Forensic Science. So a little background about me. I'm originally from the Poughkeepsie area. I went to SUNY Oswego for my undergraduate and graduate degrees. In undergrad, I studied chemistry, public justice, and forensic science, and my graduate degree was in behavioral forensics. So this is my first year at Lourdes. I'm very, very excited to be here, and I'm very excited to see what the rest of this year will look like. So a brief description of this course: your students will be learning history of forensics, history of different types of evidence collection or different types of forensic analysis, collection and preservation of different types of evidence, crime scene analysis, and we're going to go through each unit as follows, plus a few more if we have time. Fingerprints, DNA, hair, firearms and ballistics, blood and blood spatter, and death and decomposition. So it is quite expansive, but they're all really, really good topics. So my course objectives are, number one, teaching the fundamentals of forensic science. Another one is identifying different facets or career opportunities in forensic science. Each topic and evidence collection that we go over really focuses in on a different career path. The limitations of forensic science and how it's not as perfect as it seems in the media. And last but not least, the identification, investigation, collection, and analysis of different types of evidence. So really quickly to touch on some COVID procedures. Number one, masks. Masks should be worn at all times in the classroom. Your students know this. They're not to be talking with the mask off. The mask should be covering their nose and mouth. I try to give mask breaks periodically throughout the day. Typically, I will give mask breaks during a video or an activity, like a silent activity. Your students will not always get a mask break in class, but I do try to give it to them as much as possible. For attendance, please make sure with your student that their Chromebook is charged and ready to go, especially if they are learning remotely that day. That is how I will take attendance. So if they are on their computer and I see their screen and I can chat back and forth with them, then I know they're there. So that is how I take attendance. And lastly, I would appreciate an email if your student will not be attending class or if they're going to be learning remotely one day. But I know if you contact the administration and they know, that's really what matters, and I'll just take my attendance based off of that. So the next thing is course policies. The first one is classroom behavior. I don't tolerate disruptive behavior in my classroom. I think that all students should be there to learn, and it should really be an equal playing field for everyone. So if there are any issues that arise, I will be sure to reach out to you personally. Masks do stay on unless told otherwise as well. For academic integrity, I do not tolerate cheating or plagiarism, and any student that does cheat or plagiarizes anything will receive a 0 on that assignment, test, or quiz. For homework assignments, all homework has been posted on Canvas as we go through it, and they all have the appropriate due dates. If your student is absent a specific day, they have to check that Canvas page. And if they don't see anything or they can't really identify what we did that day, feel free to have them reach out to me, or you can reach out to me, and I will let you know exactly what they missed. So for the first few weeks of school, I was pretty lenient with the transition from into hybrid learning and into fully remote learning, but now I felt it was a really good time to enact a late policy. So for each late assignment that's not approved by me, it'll result in a loss of 1 point per day. Of course, I know that different situations might arise or different circumstances. So usually if that communication is with me ahead of time, I'm more than willing to work with you and your student on setting a new deadline. The grading guidelines are as follows. 35% of the grade is tests, 25% is quizzes, 20% is the final project, which will be a crime scene investigation, 15% is labs and projects, and 10% is homework. So to succeed in forensics, number one, asking questions via email, in class, or even in the GoGuardian chat. I do try to monitor it as much as possible during class. So your students should be able to just type out some questions during class if they're home. If your students complete assignments on time and take the time to complete them, that can ensure their success in this class. And of course, reading directions carefully. Consistent studying is super important in this class because that last project, which I'll touch on in just a second, all the topics that we're going to be learning will come together for that crime scene investigation. So it will really be crucial that your students understand and recognize all the different types of evidence and basically everything we've learned up until that project. If your students make mistakes in this class, I encourage it. That's how they learn. And last but not least, active class participation. So I'm planning to host some extra help sessions via Google Meet. These will begin after school around 2:30 p.m. They're only going to be available to your students on their remote day, and it is required that I will have at least 2 students in attendance. But of course, if your student is the only person in attendance and I cannot have the Google Meet because of this rule, I am more than willing to record a video of myself explaining a topic and then send it to them directly or post it on Canvas. So a little bit about the final project. The final project, like I had mentioned in this course, is cumulative and it allows students to actually enter a crime scene, analyze different pieces of evidence, and come up with a conclusion. So the details have not yet been finalized. I'll be sure to keep you in the loop about those details as they are finalized. I do plan to plan maybe something separate for the fully remote students, but like I said, nothing has been finalized yet, so I'll be sure to reach out once it has been. So that's really it. My contact information is listed below. My email is smithL@ollchs.org. If you are an observer on Canvas for your student and you want to use the chat feature, I'm willing to look at those messages as well, so I'll check that daily. And last but not least, you can leave me a voicemail at the school phone number, and my extension is 1101. If you have any questions or anything like that, please let me know. Other than that, I hope you have a wonderful back to school night.